Hey everybody, it's Tina here, and Kim.
Hello.
Either way, she's going to show up in the video. Back for video number 2, talking about launch management here. And if you will recall in video number 1, if you haven't watched video number 1, you're going to want to get back and get your buttons over there and do so, because we talked about the 5 different launch channels, essentially, the 5 different types of launches, the 5 ways that a launch can happen, right? And this is really foundational for kind of what we're going to talk about today and in the final video as well here too. What I want to talk about here today is how you can kind of help guide your clients a little bit in the launches. I know one of the things that came out in our survey that we did a few weeks back is that people are looking at, like, my clients want this and my clients want that, and I just don't think it's the right thing, or they're asking for too much too quickly, too soon, etc. And we really want to be able to, I believe that there's a lot of opportunity right now in this kind of launch management area for you as an online business manager, or maybe you're a virtual assistant, or you're just wanting to specialize in this area in some way, shape, or form, right? There's a lot of room for you to be empowered to really help guide and lead your clients at a higher level here, right? Because quite honestly, sometimes if your clients are depending on where they're coming from or what they're seeing or what their strategies are, where they're making their decisions from, it may not necessarily be the best direction for them to go in. And I know for a fact when I'm talking to entrepreneurs and they're looking for support in the launch area, they're really looking for 2 key things. More often than not, they're wanting somebody who can manage the launch for them, right? Who can manage the day-to-day, plan it out, work with the people, get things done, etc. And that's kind of an obvious thing that we would bring to the table as an OBM and helping our clients manage launches. But secondary too, a lot of business owners are actually looking for somebody who can plug in and bring some of that expertise with them. Yeah. Too, right? Somebody who can actually, quite honestly, it's friggin' confusing out there when we're talking about launches. And it's just as confusing for your clients as it is for you in some cases, right? So if and where you're ever finding, like, I don't know, do we do this? Do we do that? I'm not really sure. That's part of what we want to talk about in the video here today, is kind of looking at those 5 different launch channels. How do you know what is the best scenario for each, right? Likewise, how do you know when it's not the best scenario for each, so that you can kind of bring that to the table for your clients and look to guide them, if you will, accordingly. So I want to start with the pilot launch. Tell us a little bit more. We of course talked about what that is in the first video, but tell us a bit more, Kim, as to when and where that's the best route to go.
Okay. The pilot launch is great for a new product that's not even fully fleshed out. I mean, that's great to know. So, and that's going to be overall, as you think about these launches, which one, are you looking to do something that's a new product or something that's an established product? So the pilot launch is great for new and even baby new. The pilot launch is also great as an opportunity to get that proof that you need, because you need proof to be able to sell it. So having that experience of taking people through something new so they can now have an experience with it and give you their testimonials and their love for it, etc., is really, really important. One thing I wanted to share that with what you were saying, Tina, is that having gone through my own pilot program, and one of the opportunities I had was to speak with the 25 women that went through this program. And one of the questions that I asked each of them, and remember, they're the business owner, I said, what is your biggest challenge with launching, and what do you need out of this program? One of the key things was that they said to me, I need a left brain. These people, they so desperately need you as the online business manager community, because they're the visionary. They're the one thinking it up. As much as they don't want to do it, their brain doesn't even wrap around these pieces. They're in the creation of, what is this thing that I want to put out there? But, when it starts to come to, how do I do it, and all the pieces that are involved, their brains start to get all crazy and fuzzy. Yeah. And you have such an opportunity as an OBM and or a VA to give them some guidance, because they don't know about all the channels. They don't.
They don't. And I think that's the key thing too, is that sometimes, because I want to make this clear too, when your role is to be a a support professional. You know, whether you're an OBM or a VA or a social media person or whatever it is, you know, it's not that it's up to you to necessarily bring the strategy to the table. It's not up to you to necessarily make the decisions either, right? Like at the end of the day, it's up to your clients to decide what type of launch they want to do and why. But for you to come in and be able to say, here's the scenario, you know, here's some options. There's this, this, and that, right? And to be able to take that another level and say, here's what I think applies here for this reason. Mm-hmm. And this is the pilot launch one too. I really want to focus on this because I don't know that we necessarily even think of this as an option. And I can probably guarantee most of your clients, it's not even on their radar, right? This is one of the things I remember seeing in the survey too, where a couple of people were like, my client wants to do a buzzworthy launch, but they don't even have a product yet, and what they're talking about, I'm not even sure if this is a good product or not. You know, the fact of the matter is you should not be doing a buzzworthy launch. You should not really even be looking at investing the time and energy that it takes to set up an evergreen launch. You definitely don't want to be looking at doing a JV or affiliate type launch until you have a program, an offering, until your clients have something that they know people want to buy and that they're going to get value from.
Yeah.
Right? So quite often people are wanting to jump straight into that buzzworthy. I have this idea. I want to do this new training program. We've never done it before and we'll make it up as we go. Let's do a buzzworthy launch. It's like that is just not, that's where the biggest headaches and recipes for disaster essentially come into play.
And it's mismanaged expectations. It's just, I mean, your point is so well taken. It's, you know, it's assuming that they have a well-established product that has track record.
Yeah.
That is when you use the buzzworthy launch.
That's
the
exactly
pilot program can be used to get ready to ultimately have a buzzworthy launch.
Yeah. And I think too, so the beauty of this as well is the fact that first and foremost, it's a much simpler type of launch process.
Yeah.
Right? Because you shared it. Share that again too. I know you mentioned this in the first video.
Very specifically, when I did mine, I mean, as simple as it was, I recorded a 5-minute video where I was imagining speaking to the 10 people that I wanted to invite. And then I just sent them an email invitation. I mean, that was my launch. And honestly, by the end of the day, 10 people had paid me $297 to participate in this. Yep. And by the end of the week, 25 people had now fully paid me because they had spread the word and shared that link.
And
not
seriously,
bad.
And you think of this too, because there's an approach behind this that I also think is really, really key. And this, I believe you can give a gift to your client essentially when this is the case, right? Is that if they're thinking they got to do buzzworthy and they got to do this and they got to do that, it's like to be able to share this and say, hey, I've been listening to Kim and Tina.
The wise women. Why?
I was going to say scapegoats. You know, we're happy to be your scapegoats, but we're happy for you to refer to us if it's helpful. But just to say, I've been studying in this. I've been looking at different launch options, and here's what. Given that you've never done this program before, given that it's brand new, why don't we start with this? And then it's simple, it's easy, it's straightforward. You're not making any huge, crazy promises either. Right? Like one of the things, we're not going to get into it in this free video training series, but as part of the actual paid training program, the full launch management program that we're starting in January, we are going to be talking about what happens after the launch.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's one thing to go out and launch, but if you don't have, if your clients can't fulfill on what they've actually launched because they've never offered it before, and or it's actually not that good or whatever, that's a whole other ballgame. That's a whole other set of headaches, right? You want to really encourage your clients to start with this idea of doing a pilot launch. Hey, I know this is valuable. First time I've done it. Would love to have you participate. You know, we might work out a few kinks along the way, but I assure you at the end, I'm going to give you all I have about X. Who's in? Kind of thing.
And right? You know what? What's really nice about the pilot launch is there's a very nice energy between, I know for myself, when I put it out there to the people that I invited, there was this hand-picked energy of, look, I have put this together. I am being completely transparent that it is not all perfect, but I know that you would benefit from this, and I would really love for you to join me. I will help you. You will help me, etc. And, you know, when you've chosen the right people, it's great. And it doesn't even have to be 10. It could be 5 people. I mean, it's just getting the opportunity to have an audience so that you can test out your work. That's really the key, and support your client to test out their work.
And then once they've done that, right? It's like once you know they have a program, a product, an offering of some kind, that's been proven. meaning it's been delivered at least once,
Yeah.
meaning that people got value from it, positive testimonials and feedback. Then
Yeah.
it's time to invest in the more hardier launches. Then it's time to potentially go out to JVs and affiliates, right? Then it's time to potentially look at the buzzworthy at some point down the road. But it's really purposeful to make sure that that piece is in place.
Yeah.
With your clients, right? And honestly, you guys, again, this is as much for your clients, as much for you as it is for your clients, I want to say. Because this is so much easier. I mean, I'm sure many of you could raise your hand and maybe have a flat forehead from having banged your head against the desk trying to help clients do a crazy buzzworthy launch when really it wasn't the time for it. It wasn't the time for it, right? And so that's, yeah, it's just that comes when the business is ready for it. That
And I
comes
will
when the
tell you
time is
this.
right.
I happen to be a real observer of basically everything that's out there. And I try myself, both for my students and myself, to document a lot of the interesting launches that are out there. And over the course of the past couple of months, I've been keeping really good records that I share with my clients of examples of buzzworthy launches. And in every single case, people are launching a product that they have already sold. They're saying, hey, I'm bringing this product to you that has done so well and my clients loved it, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody is saying, here's the first time out of the gate with this product.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the people who were doing it, you can feel their confidence, which is a very key thing in their videos, in their buzzworthiness. I mean, that's really the whole thing. They wouldn't have the affiliates behind them. They wouldn't speak with the confidence if they had not already had experience promoting their offering.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, you guys. So that's kind of a little bit of I was going to say permission, right? I feel like I want to kind of end this video in a sense of like, I hereby give you permission to bring this to the table with your clients because they want and need it from you, right? Don't sit back and feel like in your mind, if you're like, I don't know, this may not be the best thing, but they're saying they want to do this. That again is part of working at a higher level with your clients. And I mean, in a sense is a whole other conversation, but you need to be willing to step in from a place of expertise and say, here's what I'm seeing. Have you considered this? Here's the scenario. If you're going to go this route, here's what we need to be aware of, kind of thing, right? Don't be afraid to bring this stuff to the table for your clients.
I want to share something with you guys, which is one of the things that I teach all the time. I essentially teach people how to get things done. And one of the elements of teaching people how to get things done is that they as the business owner are not meant to do everything. Their brilliance is not to do everything that they need to outsource, to delegate, etc. And one of the things that I always explain to them is the benefit of you outsourcing to someone else is you are paying for their brilliance and their expertise and what they bring to the table that you don't know. And I am the very first one to say you are so much better off having a VA or an OBM who's got other clients, who's got their pulse on what's going on. Let them bring that to you. I mean, that's part of the equation. That's what you're paying for. You're not just paying for an OBM to do tasks for you. You're paying for the expertise and the knowledge that your OBM has because they are experiencing other clients and going through other things. And I know for myself as the business owner, I bow down to that OBM or VA who says, hey, another client of mine just did this. Would you like to try it? Bless your heart for sharing that with me.
Yeah, exactly.
I wants that.
Yeah.
I think that I don't think they expect it, but I think if it's presented properly, I think it is highly valued.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's needed. It really is needed. Your expertise, your ownership of not only getting a launch done, which is what we're going to talk about in video number 3, what that kind of some tips and tricks, if you will, for that whole process. It's like that's needed, but they also want your expertise. They want your thinking. And of course, your expertise can come from just the fact that you're watching these videos right now and potentially joining us for the training down the road, which we'll talk about in video number 3 if you're interested. You can get, we're here to give you our expertise so you can pass it on to your clients. That's a bigger part of what this is. All right. Woohoo! So hopefully this video has simplified for some of you, that you are able to go back to a client and say, no, we don't need a buzzworthy launch right now. Let's start simple. Hereby making your life simple as well, or simpler as well, too, in support of clients. So, all right, guys, we'll see you video number 3.